Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to Sridhar's newsletter and the podcast show called Minimalist Techie. Appreciate you being here so we can connect weekly on very interesting topics. If you're very new here, this is my newsletter sridhargargipati.substack.com. So you can just subscribe to the newsletter so you can directly get into your inbox. Or if you're not interested to get to subscribe, then you can directly freely you can listen in multiple platforms like uh, the show name is Minimalist Techie. You can hear that on Apple Podcast or Spotify Podcast or the YouTube platform. Irrespective of which platform you're listening, or you can come directly to the website sridharkaripati.substack.com and you can click a play button and then just listen to the podcast for free. So this weekly newsletter is mostly about the articles, books, videos, or thoughts I read or I watch. My views on a different topics which revolves around my head during the week. Let's dive into today's topic. So, given the last week we talked, last couple of weeks back, we did a H1-B live and two podcasts so far. So, when I was reviewing that particular podcast notes, something came to my mind. That's the reason I'm doing today's topic, which is for a H1B life perspective. Don't hold onto the stagnant jobs. So we are going to talk about something that many H1B professionals struggle with, staying in the same job for the years and years just to maintain their visa status. It is a very tricky situation. You move to the US with a very strong technical skills, ready to grow, but over time you find yourself stuck working in a very outdated technologies, unable to switch jobs because of immigration processes, and you ultimately risk your long-term career prospects. So if this sounds like you or someone you know, then stay tuned. We are going to break this down, why this happens, what risk actually it creates, and how to avoid getting tapped in a stagnant job. Let's get started. The very first 6 years on a H1B, you can treat it as in a golden phase when professionals for very first time when they arrive in US on a H1B visa, they usually have a solid technical skills. They are very excited, ambitious, and actually eager to prove themselves. Typically, these professionals work very hard, they upskill and establish themselves within their companies. Their employer and client sees their value add and realize that retaining them beyond the 6 year H1B limit is beneficial to the company. At this point, things are looking great, but then a critical transition actually happens, one that many H1B professionals don't think about early enough of their career. Let's talk about the big bulldog here, the green card backlog and getting stuck here, especially for the Indian citizens. After 6 years, if the employer actually wants to retain an employee, they begin the green card process. So for Indian nationals, the backlog is actually very extreme. Right now, the applications are somewhere in 2011, 12, and they are still being processed. That means many professionals could be waiting decades, even 100 plus years, in order to get their green card. So what happens? The employer actually files a 140, which actually allows the H1B extensions beyond the 6 years, and that will actually effectively allow keeping the employee on a H1B indefinitely. This is where the real problem actually begins. So I'll not bore you with the entire green card, why they are hiring an international professional in the US. I'm just assuming that if you're listening to the on the H1B podcast, I'm hoping you know that they only create this particular application in order for the foreign professional to get the green card is because they're not able to get the same technical skill resources in the US, right? So I won't get you bored. for the entire process. But because right now I just want to talk about the problem statement, and especially why people stuck into the jobs. So this is actually is a more of a trap, and this trap will actually leads to H1B professionals stop growing in their career. See, once their actually green card is in process, many H1B professionals start playing it very safe. So they avoid switching jobs because restarting the green card process with a different employers always feel risky. If the client's technology is outdated, so they don't push for learning for new skills. See, and what happens actually in this particular scenario, because they want to avoid switching any jobs, and maybe their client on the current job which they have initially been moved with their existing skill set, they are doing pretty good at their client base. Maybe the client is actually not ready to upgrade to the newer technologies because they have budget issues, etc., and all that, and they want to continue on the same outdated technologies. So if their client technology is actually outdated, then what happens is the client actually want to retain the same resource because on that older technology, their current resource is the one who is having a pretty good skill set, so they don't want to lose him. And this is where the entire trap get begins. The professionals will stick to their existing job, assuming that my green card application is in process. It might be in couple of years I might be getting it. Oh, and why to take that particular risk in order to switch the jobs right now and restart the green card process all over again, right? And slowly what happens is they push themselves for learning for the new skills, and they prioritize the job security over a career growth. So this is a comfort zone, and this comfort zone is what kills the long term career aspects. There is a lot of risk of sticking to such an old technologies, and sticking lot of risk by sticking with an outdated skills. And why this is so dangerous trap, actually, let's talk about it. Technology is actually moving fast. So what was in demand 10 years ago is obsolete today. If your skills are not updated, you will struggle to get a new job. The longer you stay in an outdated technologies, the harder it is for you to transition. Employers actually look for people with a pretty good hands-on experience in the new tools. So if you have been working in the legacy system for last 6 years, 8 years, 10 years, moving to a modern tech stack will be in a very difficult and a challenging situation for you. What if, and what happened if at all you're losing your current job because you have been stuck in the same job on the same outdated skill set for the safety net? Imagine if you are losing your job, you are now competing with the younger and the more up to date professionals, which means as you compete with the younger professionals, your pay rate might not be matched with the younger professionals because younger professionals start with a lower pay initially, and you might be stuck at your particular job with a certain billing rate right now. And when you start competing with the younger, definitely you'll get into a lot of billing issues. You won't be getting your own expected billing rate, and technology perspective also you'll not be able to keep up to date with those technology professionals. And your visa clock is keeps on in a ticking if you lose your job. So if you don't find a job in another 60 days, we all know that we have to leave the US within 60 days, right? So at that point you realize how staying stagnant has actually put you in a career, put your career at risk. So we all know all these things happens. I'm not saying don't stick in the same clients. I'm not saying don't stick in the same job. There are folks who are actually growing in the same client, same job, but they're changing different roles. I think the risk, what majorly we are talking is when professionals are actually irrespective whether they're changing employers or they're sitting in the same job as the same sorry when they're sitting in the same company, but problem is when they stop growing, like they're not moving within their organization from one role to a higher role, or they are sticking to their existing outdated skill set in order to have a safety net with their current job, right? That's the problem statement. That is the trap will actually lead into this issue. So how to avoid this trap? Yeah, see the pretty this situation is actually pretty good avoidable, and here are a few things which you can do in order to avoid this trap. You can upskill very regularly. You can stay ahead of the industry trends. You can take many online courses, get certifications, and work on a lot of side projects. Platforms like Coursera, Udemy, LinkedIn Learning, and edX can actually help you stay more competitive. Yes, you're working on this upskilling yourself. So even your current job is not utilizing this particular tool set, but you at least being upskilled will actually avoid if you lose a job, you all will be having the latest technologies in your bucket. In that way, it's pretty easier for you to land a nice job very quickly. And be open to new opportunities as well. Don't be afraid to switch jobs. There is a green card wait period of 100 years, 130 years. So yeah, so don't afraid. We are not going to live that long for 100 years, 130 years. So feel free to switch the jobs. Yes, your employer has filed your green card, but you can always port your priority date to a new employer and you can restart the process. Yeah, restarting the process is where the people actually get stuck to the same job because they don't want to restart the process, because again they have to wait for another based upon their perm filing and 140 processing all over again. It might be the restarting process is also very costly nowadays. It is almost like near to 2 years, right? But yeah, but just letting you guys know that the you can actually port your priority date. Like take an example, if your priority date was 2016 and you're actually moving to a different employer right now in 2025, you're restarting your process. Let's assume with the current processing timelines, entire process to get your 140 approved all over again with the newer employer takes 2 years. But once that get approved, your priority date will not be in 2025 or 2027. Your priority date would be back to your initial very first application, which was in 2016, right? So you're at least retaining your priority date. Yeah, be also open to new opportunities within your own organization as well. If you don't want to move, if you don't want to take this particular challenge, right? Don't stuck to the same job, same project, with the same skill set and the same role, right? Within the same organization also, as you are getting upskilled, as you're working on other side projects, you can show this additional skill set at your own client within the same project where you're working on. If the additional higher position get opens up, you can do interviews for those and get and also we can apply internal hire for multiple applications, right? Because internal hiring is a much easier process for an organization rather than getting an external hire. Do network with other professionals. uh, this is very important. We have to network with other professionals. Sometimes if you are behind the technology, if you are behind the current technical landscape, it's important to join the industry groups, attend certain meetups and connect with the hiring managers, because that will actually help you to know what are the current trending topics, what are the current trending skill sets which you have to learn to make sure that you are upskilling in that area. The best opportunities often come from the networking, not from the job applications. So that's the reason, do network with other professionals, and that is going to definitely help you within your organization or when you're switching a job. Do have a backup plan. So if you feel your current employer is actually limiting your growth and you're not getting enough opportunity within your own employer, or when you're doing interviews, because when you change employer as well, if you lose a job, you just have 60 days, right? And if you know that within 60 days if you're not landing the job, you have to leave the US, right? So for sure, be have the particular mindset, always have the particular backlog. You have worked here for 6 years, you have worked it for 10 years, so have some financial cushion so that you are never afraid about losing a job or going back, right? Because you have spent 10 years or 15 years, whatever it is, right, on your current H1B, how many number of years, as long as greater than 6 years. And if you're getting into this type of a trap, do have the backup plan, which is more like you can be a financially sound. And what are the key things which you have talked about here? Upskilling, being relevant to the market condition. As long as you have done all those bullet points, you really don't have to stuck in the country, right? If the green card backlog is really 100 plus years, it's worth considering returning to India or other countries where the opportunities are growing pretty fast. I know many of my friends, people in 2016 time, have moved to Canada. Maybe right now Canada is also facing right now some job challenges. I know few folks who have moved to Arab countries. People have moved to Malaysia. People have moved to Ireland. So there are a lot of opportunities. Or I know a number of people who have moved back to India as well, right? It's just that yes, you came here because there is a good opportunity for you to grow uh, at your career level. If you that career is not progressing, have that yes, India is a developing country, US is in a developed country. So have, because you worked here for 6 years, more than 6 years, have certain financial cushion. And if here you're not seeing a value add, don't get stuck into this particular jobs. Simply make a decision and plan to move back to your home country. See, if you are on a H1B, do remember you must take control of your career. Don't stay in a job for a job security. Upskilling and staying relevant is actually a non-negotiable thing for a H1B professional. So be very strategic. Look at your long-term career, not just your short-term visa status. And this is very important. This is a very big trap actually. That's the reason I'm doing this additional podcast today. So H1B is an opportunity. It's not a trap, but only if at all you actually stay proactive, and then you can treat this as a very good opportunity. Yeah, if you found this episode useful, then do share with your friends. Yeah, this is a very short one which we have done today, but I felt based upon the last two videos which I have done on the H1B, this is a very important topic which requires quick revision for everyone. So that is all for this week. See you again. Do let me know in comments, or you can reply me or my newsletter. Yeah. So whatever these days kid says, like, subscribe, share, like, subscribe, whatever these days kid says. Stay connected, share ideas, spread happiness. Thank you.